Hello my friends, welcome to Sastec. So in this video we are going to learn about Oracle database. So I will start from scratch. We will learn everything all in and out about Oracle database. So we will first understand the basics of the database, Oracle database, and then we will move further. Okay, we will go to the advanced as well. So our objective into this whole video will be, or this whole session will be, fundamental of Oracle database. We will learn about the fundamentals. Then we will learn how to install the Oracle database. So we'll also learn what is Oracle SQL, how we can implement the SQL queries in Oracle. Then we will move to the Oracle PL SQL. There we will learn that how to write the programs into Oracle. Then we will learn some important functions in Oracle. And then we will also learn something about or the basics of the Oracle database administration. Okay, so moving next, we will just start. So in this fundamental, we will learn what is Oracle database, or what is a database, what is RDBMS, and what is Oracle database. Okay, and then we will learn about Oracle database architecture in the fundamental, the whole fundamental. So what is a database? What is a database? So database is a collection of data. So like wherever the data is collected, we can call that as a database. If let's say suppose we have a lot of physical files or physical documents, if we collect them all together, we can call that as a database. But in our case, it will be a database is actually which can be stored electronically in a device, means any collection of data which can be stored electronically in some device, like in a hard disk or in a pen drive. If we can store it somewhere, we can call that as a database. So basically database can be structured or unstructured. So structured database is which is having the data structured, means the database or the data is in a tabular format, so we can easily see the data, we can easily understand the data by just looking on the table. Okay, and in the unstructured database we can have multiple things. So in the unstructured database we can have documents, we can have videos, we can have image files, anything other than the table format. It is an unstructured database. In between of unstructured and structured, we also have a semi-structured kind of a database, which will have database as a tabular format as well, and some unstructured database as well. But that is not part of our course. We will be mostly focusing on the structured database. Database is also which allows access to the information. So in database which can give us some information is actually a database. Okay, based on the data residing into it. So for example, let's say suppose if we go to a soccer World Cup database. So like we had so many soccer World Cups, if we can get some information out of those data, then only it will be a database. Okay, so database is giving us the information. This is the example of structured database. That is, we can see that it is in a tabular format, so we can easily understand the information out of that. Okay, and in the unstructured database we will keep the documents. So moving to next, what are the types of databases? Okay, so there are so many types of databases, but we are going to understand some of them, like RDBMS. So RDBMS is the relational database management system, which is mostly implemented on the structured database. So example of RDBMS is MySQL, Oracle, PostgreSQL, IBM DB2. So we'll learn more about the RDBMS in the next slide. But as of now, we can just see the examples of this RDBMS are these databases. And these are the most popular databases in the market. Then we have NoSQL databases. So NoSQL is something which doesn't have a SQL, means mostly it is not the structured database. So they are actually the unstructured database. So Cassandra and MongoDB are the most popular example in the market for the NoSQL database. There are another database like cloud database. So cloud database is something which is residing on the cloud. Examples are Microsoft Azure SQL database, Amazon Relational Database Service. So cloud database, basically they are residing on the cloud. Last one is a document database, that is basically keeping the documents inside it. Okay, so Amazon Document DB is actually a document database, but we will be mostly concentrating on this RDBMS part. So next is RDBMS, that is Relational Database Management System. As I told earlier, that this is basically implemented only on the structured database. So what is a relational database management system? So relational database management system is keeping the relation between the data. That is what it says, right? That is what it says with the name relational database. So it keeps or maintain the data, maintain the relations between the tables. So any table or any database which has data in the tabular format, it is structured database, and it is keeping the relation between that. That can be an RDBMS. That is what this gentleman is saying, that we keep the relation between the database which is kept in the tabular format. This is a simple example of RDBMS, or the relational database. So we can see here there are two tables, employee and department. So in the employee we have 4 columns. First one, the employee ID, second first name, then the last name, and then the department ID. We can see here the department ID is basically in both the tables, in the employee and the department. So basically this department ID is keeping the relationship between them. So if you see, department ID 1 means accounts department, department ID 2 means human resource department, and department ID 3 means travel department. So just by seeing that, we can see that Tom Smith is working in department human resource, and Michelle D'Souza is working in department accounts. Okay, that's how it's very easy to extract the information from the from the structured database and from the tabular view, if we are keeping the relationship. So now we will try to understand what are the properties of RDBMS. So basically RDBMS has 4 important property, or we can say these 4 property must be in the RDBMS. So any structured database who is following the RDBMS, they must impose these 4 properties. So what are they? So first one is the atomicity. So atomicity is actually means that it guarantees that either of the transactions succeed or not. So let's suppose one transaction is doing something and it has series of actions, like suppose it's creating a table and then inserting some data and then even updating something. So when it is doing those things, it will ensure that either it will complete everything or it will not do anything. Okay, if it has multiple updates, then it will complete all those updates. It cannot leave the transaction cannot leave the action in between and keep the transaction uncompleted. Okay, it cannot be incomplete. So it should be atomicity, means it will complete the data. Now moving on to the consistency, the second point here. Consistency, it means that the database should be consistent. Any transactions which is happening on database, it should be consistent, means after completing the transaction, it should always keep all those rules which has been imposed to the database. It should actually imply all those rules. It cannot leave any rule. So that is what consistency. After every transaction, it should be consistent. Isolation means every transaction in an RDBMS should be an isolated transaction. Means if one transaction is updating something and another transaction is again updating something, So they should be completely different from each other. That is what isolation. And then the durability. Durability means if one transaction is completing some actions and it commits there, means it actually completes everything, then whatever has been changed, it is available to all other users, all other sessions, and it is a permanent one, so it will be always permanent. So that is called durability. Okay, so these are the main four properties of RDBMS. In short, we call them as ACID. So any RDBMS system or any RDBMS database system should be compliant to the ACID properties. Hope this is clear. Moving to next slide. What is Oracle database? So as we all know by now that Oracle is an RDBMS system. Okay, it follows RDBMS, and if it follows RDBMS, definitely it will follow the ACID property as well. So these are the features of Oracle database. It can be cross-platform, like it can run the various hardware. It can run on various hardwares across the operating system. Okay, it should be ACID compliant. As I just said, that Oracle is an RDBMS system, so it should be ACID compliant. It has a network stack, means it can work very good on the network as well. If we install the Oracle server on one server machine, so it is always available within the network. Okay, and commitment to open technologies means it should be available in any technology. It should be available on any platform, either it is Linux or Windows, anything. Okay, so this is the fundamentals of Oracle. So in this video we have learned what is a database, we understood what is RDBMS, and we also understood the basics of Oracle database, means the definition of the Oracle database. In the next video we will understand the Oracle database architecture. Hope you liked the video. See you in the next video. Thank you very much.